And now we have a short interview with Dr. Ninh of MySpace and Facebook fame on March 9, 2010. Dr. Ninh, I'm told that you were a surgeon and taught at the Medical School of Saigon. After the war, you also were put into a concentration re-education camp by the communists. Why?
You know that all the male Vietnamese doctors after graduation are drafted during the war to serve as a physician in the armed forces of the Republic of Vietnam. I was among one of them, and because of that, because I have served for over 1 year actually, in the armed forces of the Republic of Vietnam, I was placed in concentration re-education camp when the communists took over south of Vietnam.
What exactly happened in the concentration camps, and how was life? How did this shape your views on life?
How is life in the concentration camp? To sum up, starvation, hard labor, and mental torture. That's it.
And what kind of torture happened? Were detainees abused, or what kind of tricks did the communist cadres play?
I cannot tell of all kinds of tortures in the concentration camp. There's the book written by Jonathan Sagan about the tortures in different concentration camps in Vietnam, published by Aurora Foundation. But I can talk only about my experience in my camp. Well, I have to tell you that life there is, to sum up, starvation, hard labor, and mental torture. In my camp, there is no physical torture in the South. There's no, in my camp, no physical torture, but mental torture. When you talk about mental torture, you talk about the threat, the all kind of pressure for you to behave and to show that you make progress in learning and doing hard labor to be released to your family.
And did the detainees, or did you know when you were going to be seeing your families again? Or did they, keep you in prison long, or how long was your prison, your re-education camp time?
Well, that is a good question. That make me say that prisons are not concentration re-education camp. In prison, detainees are kept there knowing when to be released. In concentration camp, re-education camp, you are kept there without knowing when you'll be released. And the condition for the release is to make progress and to show that you have worked hard, labored hard. That means that you are kind of a hold hostage to that condition of being released. And that makes many detainees turn out to be informant for the cadre in the camp, and also that make the detainee, some of the detainees, becoming very competitive to show that they are much better than their detainee, their fellow detainee. And that makes the atmosphere in the concentration camp are very, very miserable. That's why I say that in the concentration re-education camp, the basic, the most horrible thing is the mental torture.
So you can kind of compare it to, for instance, putting a carrot in front of a horse's face to make sure that he keeps running.
Yes, that is a very benign comparison, because in the concentration camp you are considered like a horse, having a carrot in front of you, you never reach. But also because of that, because of instinct of survival, and because of all of the pressures, that not only you try hard, but also you try to excel and to compete with your fellow detainee. That makes life miserable.
And how did this experience affect the way that you saw life in Vietnam after you were released?
Well, a very good question. I think that my time in concentration camp, I have a chance to observe and to think. And I realize and I understand the people more, the fellow detainee more, and then the communists more. And because of that, I find out a kind of philosophy of looking at life. How is life defined? What is the meaning of life? And because of that, I found out that I cannot live in that kind of a situation. And I have to escape at any price because you cannot live in a inhuman situation where people treat you not like people, but like garbage or instrument or animal. That's what happened. And that's I make my decision to go, regardless of what. And I have to make between life and death, between choosing a meaningful life and then a slowly or unmeaningful life and unworthy life under the communist regime.
So after you decided to escape, how did you actually carry out the escape with your family?
I'm a boat person. That means I escape by boat. But how do I escape? It's a very complicated problem. It's a lot of good planning, luck, and also good assessment of the situation. I hope that you are interested. I will talk to you about that later, not now.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking to us about your experience in the prison camp, and we will have this conversation again.
Again.
Thank you, Dr. Ninh.